So today I'm gonna work on a little problem I have with the fence in the front yard. So this house has kind of an atrium that frames in the entrance. It's kind of a U-shaped house. And so there's a wall, stucco, that's been added, stucco wall, and it's framed in so that it has basically a connection to the house on one side, and then two piers around a gate, and then it connects to another wall on the other side of the house. The problem I have is that this corner has a footing that's sunk, and so it'll be hard to tell, but this wall sinks to the left side of the video to the corner, and we can see it separating from the house here as it's sunk, as that footing is sunk into the wall. It's still close to the wall at the bottom, but the top is separated as this corner has sunk down in the ground. So I've dug it out, and you can start to see a little bit on this side of what we're up against. And then coming around to the other side, it's a little bit easier to see that there's a post at the bottom that is in a concrete footing. It's been poured into this concrete footing. Post is still in pretty good shape, and so it's a whole footing. So the footing that's sinking, so the concrete's still attached to the post, but the whole footing has slowly recessed about an inch or so. So what I'm gonna do is jack it up. Once I got to jacking this up, put a bottle jack under the wall here and cracked the styrofoam a little bit, which I fully expected. It's not hard to repair, and it's in an inconspicuous spot. But what I wanted to show you is that I thought this footing was firmly attached to the wood, and the footing itself, whole footing, was sinking. Turns out that's not the case. So this post is rotting, probably from all the moisture, even though it's pressure treated, and just decomposing inside the footing. So this is a lot easier job now because I don't need to shore up the footing and raise it. Instead, I just need to fix this post. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and cut that post off a little below the end of the wall, bottom of the wall, where it's still a healthy post, and then go back in and add a new piece below it. So it looks like this isn't pressure treated after all. Looks like it's just a standard redwood post, which is the natural equivalent to pressure treated. But as you can see, it hasn't held up well over time. I think this post has probably been in here, probably 15 years at least. So redwood's tough, but not that tough. I figured out what I'm going to do to try to fix the existing post. I've picked up this Simpson tie at Home Depot, this Simpson strong tie that's used for new construction because this bottom is used for casting in concrete. But I have that option to use this, and I'll show you why here in a minute. So if you notice, I was able to remove the existing post, and so there's a hole in my form that's available to me that I was able to clean out. And this Simpson tie I can fit in here, and it's a tight fit, but if I splay it out, I can wrap it around this existing post and get it in there. And so I splayed it out. I'll tighten it back up after I get it cast in there. But what I'm gonna do is fill the whole concrete around this form, and then I'll be able to just shim it
back up to the post and tie the with another 4x4, and then connect them using this Simpson tie. I may reinforce on these sides as well, but in general, this is going to allow it to hold the compression load and not sink. So here I've got my patch. This is just fast setting cement patch from Home Depot. Takes 3/4 of a quart. You just dump it in there, and then I've got a trowel mixing it up till it's got a nice consistency, and you don't see any more dry. I've got a little bit in there, so needs a little bit more mixing, but it's pretty good. So I should be able to just trowel it in there. Small gap, so I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I got concrete all the way in there. Kind of pulled it out as I was seating it, trying to wiggle it in there. Make sure I get a good amount of concrete all around. So I need to let that sit for 24 hours. Okay, so now I've got my cut of my sistered post that I want to slip in here, and I'm gonna have the end piece, which has the copper sulfate or whatever they did, posted in the middle. They tried to inject all the way through, but it's not as strong, so I'm gonna have that upward, and then it should just slip right in. I'm getting a little bit of tolerance, so it's a good fit, and it's right where I want it, so that should work out. I do want it tight because I don't want this thing to drop at all as I lowered the jack back in place. Okay, so here I have the bracket. There's holes in these brackets that allow me to tie them together. This is exactly what this corner bracket is probably designed for, but confident this will give me some shear strength as I tie these two together. So obviously in compression I've got no problem once this concrete cures, but if I get some lateral movement, you can see that's clearly happened where my form, where my hole sits, is moved probably a 3/8 of an inch away from the house, and so I can't line them up exactly. That's because the wall has slid away from the house that 1/4 inch. So doesn't seem like that's going to continue, but if it is, I want to have something that resists it a little bit. So looking at what's been done here, I've tied in the Simpson ties to the post addition. As you can see, it's a little bit offset, and I've got this little angle bracket that I'll tie in. The back side's not tied in yet, so I'll do that. The jack's in the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this down, and let's see how this sits. You can see it's all resting on the post. The weight. So I'll go ahead and finish screwing in the back. Obviously, if there's an earthquake or something, this isn't gonna do a whole lot. But it's been through
a few of those, and maybe even why it's shifted a 1/4 inch to begin with. The whole footing can move, so I'm not really trying to counter that. I'm just trying to keep it from moving a little bit from less big forces, as well as mainly that it doesn't sink anymore. So as with all these projects, you fix one problem, the wall's now level, and it's the seam. I actually realized that this wall has slid. So if you look in, there's a gap that you can see, but you'll see nails that are sticking out. So this was flush, which you would expect at one point. So it's drifted about a 1/4 inch towards the front of the house. I'm not gonna try to fix that. If it's level, I'm happy. But this front door, the gate on the entrance, no longer shuts, because you can see it hits at the top, because of course this post is now level, because that corner is level, and so that means this gate was put in with the wall, put into shut with the wall not level. But what these gates have is like a little mechanism to level. So you see this arm that it slides into, this bracket has some gap on it. So it's, and then the one on the base is all the way flush. So what I think I can do to fix this is take that bolt out, angle this bracket sideways to twist it, and it'll slide in further. And I assume it locks when you twist it back vertical, and then screw it back in. So it should be a simple fix, but we'll find out when I try to take that on after I finish the rest of the project.
Okay, we got it now screwed in. The plate blocks from putting holes, screws in everywhere, but I'm not really concerned about that. It's not going anywhere. It's now tied together to the top and the bottom, and it's seated inside this bracket. So really no place for it to go, and it should hold up, should be protected from rotting, shouldn't sink. Flooring's been stable, and at last check to see, is my wall actually level now? It does still slope down this way away from the house a little bit, but it's close. Check the other wall that we do over here. Again, my top of my wall isn't exactly flat anyway because it's stucco, but you see it still angles towards this post a little bit, so we did drop, but it's close. It's much better than it was. And then just checking the wall against the house, check that gap, see what it looks like, and it looks nice and consistent top to bottom. So that's a wrap. I don't really care if you like and subscribe, but I do hope it was helpful, and I'm sure some will tell me what I did wrong in the comments, and that's cool too. Thank you.